Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I think that today is another great example of what is possible when you have strong and smart American leadership in the Middle East and throughout the world. For those who follow the history of this conflict, the significance of this cannot be overstated enough. You have a situation in 1967, after the Six-Day War, the Arab League met in Sudan, and in Khartoum, they had the declaration of what became known as the three no's for the Arab League: no peace, no recognition, no negotiations. Now today we have peace. We have the three yeses under President Trump. We have peace, we have recognition, and we have negotiation for even more peace. So this is a tremendous acceleration of the turning point that President Trump has been able to accomplish in the region, and I do really believe that we're seeing this pick up even more and more. We have more countries that are going to be making peace with Israel. We're very confident that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict will be resolved as well, and I do think that will allow us to focus on reducing extremism and terrorism, and then also reducing anti-Semitism throughout the world, and both of those cannot be understated enough as big accomplishments. And I will just say finally that if you look at where Sudan was in 2016 versus where they are now, again, you have a president who's not lecturing other countries, but for countries who want to improve their lot and make progress, there's no better partner than America, and that's what you're seeing with Sudan and with the Middle East. And I will just say as well that these peace agreements are not as easy as President Trump and his team are making them look. These are very hard agreements. These are conflicts that have gone on for decades in many regards. And getting people to resolve these conflicts and focus on how you can create a brighter future is just a tremendous thing that makes America safer and the world a better place. So thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership.
It's very funny when Jared said that. It's true. They've been going on for, you could say, centuries in some cases, really. I mean, if you think about it. But they've been going on for many decades, and it's just falling into place. It's all falling in. It was the right system and all falling in. Robert O'Brien?
Mr. President, thank you, and thank you to everyone here, all the members of your team that have been worked so diligently, Jared and the Secretary under Secretary Mnuchin and Secretary Pompeo under your direction. What I said early on when I came to this job is that your legacy, Mr. President, as you left office, would be as that of a peacemaker. And that's
nobody would have believed that.
And
except you.
And I think it's shown a tremendous amount of courage for you to put your political capital and to put your leadership at risk. I think it also shows a tremendous amount of courage with the leaders who are on the phone, with the Prime Minister of Israel, the Prime Minister of Sudan, the Chairman of the Council in Sudan, King Hamad, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed. It's taken a tremendous amount of courage, but it's not just here, Mr. President. At your direction, Secretary Pompeo signed a peace agreement with the Taliban, and we haven't had a combat death in Afghanistan since February.
No, think of that. In Afghanistan, we have not had a combat death since February. It's a long time ago. I mean, that's something that is very nice. That's got a beautiful ring to it.
And you brought normalization to Serbia and Kosovo, economic normalization. Kosovo is another Muslim majority nation that has recognized Israel and moved their capital to Jerusalem, or moved their embassy to Jerusalem. So again, Mr. President, I think you and the team that you've put together has just done a tremendous job bringing peace to the world, which in turn brings peace to the American people and allows us to keep our sons and daughters who serve in uniform here at home and not out in the Middle East and other places, as you've talked about during your time in office, Mr. President.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Steve?
Mr. President, congratulations on another incredible achievement with this peace agreement between Sudan and Israel. And I just returned from representing you in the region. I was in Abu Dhabi, Mr. President, representing you at the first ever Abraham Accords business summit between Israel and UAE, and seeing the leaders of both those countries and the business people now interacting together and doing business was extraordinary, and also in Bahrain. And seeing the region under your leadership united against the terrorist acts from Iran and the issues in Iran, you have brought peace and stability to the region and security.
It's a much different place. Brian Hook, please.
Mr. President, the Arab-Israeli conflict is moving toward its end. And this is transformative diplomacy that has been led by the President. It started with two peace agreements in the Middle East, and now it has spread to Africa. And the President has stood with Israel and countered Iran, and that has given space to our Arab partners to move closer to Israel. And so with 3 peace agreements, this is now the 3rd defeat for Iran's foreign policy, and it is another victory for America.
Had we not done what we did with Iran, this could never have worked. That was a horrible deal. That was a horrible setback. Bibi and others were very much against it at the time, but that's what the problem was. And it was not well done, not well executed. And that agreement is practically over. Had we let that agreement stay, it's practically over. And that would have been a pathway to nuclear weapons, and we'll never let Iran have nuclear weapons.